Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies with your host, Jason Marshall.
I'm your host, Jason Marshall. With me today is... We're just going to do this every fucking time. Why not? With me today is comedian, actor, author, and Facebook user.
Avid. I would say avid Facebook user because like I was saying in the one episode that I did do a Facebook Live video.
Yeah.
Okay. And I actually had to unfriend somebody on Facebook, and I've now found out what that's like.
That's kind of one of those things that's sort of hard to do now, and you almost have to cross a line to be in that zone because you can just unfollow people now.
That's right.
Which is very nice. I thought about just going on and just being like, these 200 or 300 people I'm just going to unfollow, and now it's just me and these 20 people. That's what Facebook is now.
Yeah, you got it down to just like you and like your aunt, But like, the thing is, unfollow is good, and I don't do either. See, the thing is, I think it's kind of cheating if you unfollow because you want to see everybody's crazy opinions, you know what I mean? And just it's a challenge to just, I want to say something back, but then just to look at it and then move on. I think it's a good skill to have to restrain yourself. But so unfollow was really handy come election time, I think. And people have now unfollowed everybody, and but I don't actually follow politics too much, and I don't really have much respect for the broadcasting of political opinions. I think basically you're not changing anybody's mind. But people like to argue. I don't like to argue. I really don't. So I think the unfollow button helps, but I've never used that. I had to unfriend Father Time. That's for damn sure. That guy.
Now, you used to be his manager.
Nah. Yeah.
So
the funny thing is, okay, here's where Facebook will bite you in the ass if you get on Facebook just to try to have fun with people, is you'll comment and say, sure, I'd like to be that guy's manager. Like, I could use some extra dough now that I don't run the Wiley's open mic anymore, which is kind of also funny. That's about what I said because you don't really get paid much for that anyhow. So then he was just incessant with the manager thing, and then I actually got him booked at an assisted living center for $50. And then, and we were going back and forth, but it was really something I couldn't keep up with. But then I don't know what it was, is every time I posted a show, he would say like, I could be your headliner or something. And when can I headline? And direct messages all the time. And I let him build up until there was a little bold number 9 by him. I just look at how big did it get, and I'd never read them. Because I just didn't want to. There was always this thing where he just thought I worked for him somehow, like I owed him something. And finally, I just like blurted out like, I just responded like, "Quit bothering me," in like capital letters. So then I get a capital letter Facebook post on my wall like, what's wrong with you? I got 2 degrees and that. And he turns it on himself every time. So finally I just had to say like, I'm pushing the button and I'm just going to unfriend the guy. And then they just virtually disappear. I've never done it before. Yeah. I've done it
so
with...
you didn't just unfriend him, you blocked him?
Yeah, actually it's not called unfriend, it's called block.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And then what happens is if they appear, they're on a show somewhere, like normally you could click on someone's name and it's the link to their thing, even if you're not friends with them, but that disappears completely. They just virtually vaporize.
I saw a post where he basically told you to be a man.
Something about like that, yeah.
And I mean, it was just the most awkwardly brutal thing for somebody who has no justification to act that way.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's the thing is I just had to do it. It was just like it got to the point where I'm like, he would disappear for weeks at a time. And then I just finally had to say, I feel like I'm gossiping here, but this is kind of a story of it, and he's probably not listening. If he is, then I'll tell him. There was a show I was going to do with him that got canceled, and I was ready. I had the words picked out. I was like, we can be friends, just not on Facebook. It's like, what if you had a friend that was just going to go and knock on your door at any time and just ask stuff from you? but it was like sometimes 3 times a day. They would just it'd become too much.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with social media now. But then I was wondering, who knows? He probably doesn't know what happened, but I did. I hit the button, man. I hit it, and I said, and then Facebook tells you, like, sorry you had this experience. Like they had to somehow apologize. Like, we're sorry you had this experience. So it was just an interesting thing. And as a avid Facebook user, I can't believe I've never used the unfriend button for somebody I know. You know what I mean? It's people I know.
Yeah.
Which I don't, whatever. People unfriend me all the time. I mean, I don't know why. It's strange. I don't try to engage in any harsh conversations. I just try to goad people if I do. I'll be like, the thing about the election, then I'll be like, hi, how'd you go in there? I'll just goad people.
I was thinking about putting out a best of Father Time sometime.
Hey, he's got a story. It's fine. He's just super compulsive on Facebook. That's the only thing.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, no. He's not just super compulsive on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Super compulsive on
everywhere.
any form of communication
he is,
possible.
yeah.
Person to person.
Yeah. This is kind of like, here's what this would be like, okay? So let's say you do comedy for a year, okay? It'd be like, I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to start playing golf. And then I'm going to be like my age, and I'm going to be like, I want to be in the Masters. Somebody get me in the Masters next year. I want to play, and I want to play with whoever's the big name in golf. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Say it was Tiger Woods. Say it was back to Tiger Woods. I want to be in his group. That's what it really is like. And the thing is, comedy is kind of brutal scene. And there's a lot of psychological assault, but you really need to just outlast such a long time. And I told him one time, I said, hey, it takes a long time. And he's like, I don't got time. I don't got enough time. And I'm like, well, then you're in the wrong thing. I mean, that's the thing. But I still respect the guy, and but it's just, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't go to bed not knowing what time bomb would awaken. And then the fact is that everybody thought it was so funny, So I thought that I kept it going for that reason. But then there was a point where I just took a little step back from comedy anyhow. But apparently that didn't matter,
He didn't take a step back, so.
He didn't take a step back, so why should I, or something, or what then I got more time to help him out or something. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So
now you're doing less. You can help him do more.
I can do.
You shouldn't be such a greedy asshole.
I know.
And now that you're taking a step back, you need to give him a step up.
Yeah,
and give him all the gigs that you took a step back from.
It's crazy. Crazy. I hope he's doing well. I just haven't spoke with him. I will be friends face to face, but I just won't be. I'll be like, nope, you can't be friends with you on Facebook.
I thought about having him back on the show just because, other than the persistent
I wish
messages,
him I wish him the best. But if he's mad, I'll tell you what, I think I could take him. I'm just saying, I can out stamina. He might catch me with a good shot if I don't expect it coming. He might Brock Lesnar me, and then he wears rings. He might knock me out.
He does wear
but
a lot
if
of
it
gold.
goes into multiple rounds, I think I got that guy.
Yeah?
I think I got him. So I think I feel like this has gone to professional wrestling mode now.
You're going to cut a promo on him?
I need to be like, Father Time, you bring whatever you got to bring, and I'll be ready.
Let me tell you something, bro.
If we ever do that chicken and waffle show for Andy Bowman, we are going to throw down.
Who consequently became his manager.
Yeah, I know.
So, well, the listeners
from afar,
so
I
I'm
guess.
just letting everybody know that's kind of it's funny that you brought him up.
That would be a guy to do a good documentary on. If you said, hey, I got, for $100, I will follow you to your shows and do a documentary on. He's unusual, and it would be something you could do a documentary on. That would be fun.
Yeah,
but
he's
I'm not
definitely
signing up
a
for
character,
it.
man.
He's a character.
100%.
So that's the thing. So, and I remember when I was still kind of messing around, just trying to he's like, so you're going to be my manager. And I'm like, okay, but you need better headshots, So then he says, well, what do you need? And I'm like, how about you near some train tracks or something? And I'm like, this guy's never going to go to the train tracks and take a picture of himself. But if you go look on his page, there's a couple pages. Now, one of the pages, he's got like headshots and there's train tracks in the background. It was like I wanted it to be like a band where they're on the train tracks and you see it coming. It's just got train tracks in the background. It's all it is, just like going diagonally. Like just as if it just needed to be featured in the background. Not like you're on the train tracks, like you're cool, like you're a badass country band. It's like just near the train tracks. There you go. It was just matter of factly. And when I got back, and he's like, how about this? He had like 3 different pictures, all with the train tracks in the background. And I was like, or a brick wall. Uh-huh. And then he had a brick wall. He did everything I said. And I'm like, oh my God, now I feel really bad. He's really full on in it to win it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
That is one thing you can't question his dedication. He's very dedicated.
No, unfortunately, he's
not
going
to the writing part.
No, well, I mean, even that. The thing is, unfortunately, the kind of dedication you got to do is you got to show up and just hang out sometimes and be part of a scene. Like, let's say that you wanted to be in. This is why comedy sucks. Okay, let's say you want to be in, and you pick a remote city. Okay. Let's say you want to be in Indianapolis. You go to Wednesday night. Tuesday night, you go to Crackers. Wednesday night, you go to Morty's. You don't even have to live in that town. Nobody knows. Nobody knows you don't live. You're in there. You don't even tell them. You could be in that city, and you just hang out enough, and you need so much time, so much disposable time to do that. And if you have any ambition to create anything, you just have to sit there and swallow whatever thoughts you have, because you're going to have to, or bring a notebook or something. But it's going to be like being in church, except 3 times a week, because you're going to just be sitting there. You know what I mean? It's just like that. So that's what you have to do, and then people recognize your face, and then you get a spot here, you get a spot there. You don't want to be barging in on everybody and then demanding that you get the same stage time that somebody else sat on their ass for multiple times to get. You know what I mean? So you got to get past that stage. And then frankly, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to go sit and just sit through comedy shows, then you have to just wait every other month until someone calls you. And then you just need to keep doing that. He doesn't have the time budget for that. Yeah. He's on the accelerated plan without doing the stuff that gets people to trust you.
And there is no accelerated plan.
There is none.
If I remember right, I think Dane Cook came up with something when MySpace was pretty much the first big social media outlet.
Yeah.
He got on there and got really popular because it had never been done. People weren't exposed to being able to reach out and talk to anybody around the world, their old classmates that moved away.
Yeah.
And until something like that comes along, you catch the lightning in a bottle. Yeah. It's not going to happen. Yeah. I mean, you really got to have some luck to have an accelerated path
or be different enough and luck. Be different enough and luck. Yeah. So to be honest with you, a guy like him could actually have what it takes to be different because he's so much older.
I know we've said some shit about him, but he's got so much going on. I mean, and I mean this in the very best way, but the stutter that he's got makes him. Well, to me, I think it's a plus. It makes him unique, and it humanizes the guy. Yeah. This man is on stage, which, everybody thinks, well, they're better than me. That's why they're on the stage. But then he's got this, and it kind of brings him to your level, and you kind of connect with him because even though he's on stage and he's, your mind, he's better than you because he's on an elevated platform with a spotlight and a microphone. Yeah. It brings him down a little bit. Plus, he's an older guy, which is somewhat endearing. And he's got a lot going on.
People give breaks to certain demographics, I will say. And so, like, if you're an older guy, I think people have been programmed. I've seen, I won't use names, but I've seen an older guy who just had tons of racist material. But he got a buy on it because he was in his 70s, and he had just a lot of racist material. And so the thing is, and it was, not just blatantly racist. It had a joke to it, but it was a lot of, he was a white guy and he had a lot of kind of black jokes that weren't, that's
He's
hard to pull off.
Archie Bunker of local comedy.
Well, no, it wasn't angry. It was just kind of playful, but it was racist. And then, then the thing is, everything's funny. Everything can be made funny, but, he got a lot of buys because of his age, I think. And I think that's because maybe if you probably were raised with the idea that, hey, this is the elder gets more respect that way.
He could just rein his personality in and stop being so aggressive with bookings.
Yeah.
I think he would get so much further.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, you gotta be nice off stage. And actually, there was a lot of people who were really older, and they weren't always. I don't even know. But do you remember Larry Bud Melvin from Late Show with David Letterman? He used to kind of talk really. He had a bow tie, I think, and he used to be a kind of guest. And he would do skits. He would do skits. He was probably in his 70s. He has squeaky voice with glasses.
Because I love David Letterman, man.
Yeah, it was Larry Bud Melvin or something like that. I bet you if you looked him up, if you Google search for it, David Letterman, you Google that. Yeah. That guy, they clowned him a little bit. He wasn't brilliant. He just could get up there and yell stuff. So he would do these skits, and he was super funny. I look forward to seeing him. There was another guy whose name was Brother Theodore. He was on Letterman a lot, too. He was an older guy, and he was just weird. If you just go Google Brother Theodore, he was like, he would get excited. He'd be banging the table, like the secret noodle ring in Minnesota is after me. They're after me, David. Like secret noodle ring in Minnesota was like a gang or something. Nothing he would say would be like, it'd just be like, where'd that all come from? But he would do theater shows, and he was just super funny. But he's passed away since then. He was really old. He was like probably pushing 80. Yeah. But he was super funny and weird, hair all over the place. You just got to weird it up and be an old person. It'd be funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of this like, hey, did you hear the one about the blah, blah, blah? You got to really be like...
Punch it up.
I think just being weird as an old person is funny. If you can be creatively weird, it's something I love. Yeah. So maybe he'll get there. It's all good.
Like I said, I really think he could if he would just dial that back some, where he's not emailing people and calling all day.
All that effort could be used to write some stuff in a notebook.
It's hard to imagine somebody could get ahead more if they didn't try so much.
You know what? I'll tell you right now. I'll get a friend request on Facebook, and the first thing I do if I see a guy with a microphone in his hand, I just like look at what they're doing. And if they're from like not the local area and I've never met them, I don't even accept anymore, because comics can be just a pain in the ass with all the direct messages and stuff. I don't book anybody that way anymore. Yeah, it's just stupid. I only run a stupid bar show every other month, but it's not worth doing that. When I was doing the open mic, we get a lot of requests. I even had a folder for the emails called the Naughty Corner. With people just over demanding stuff, we'd put them all in the naughty corner.
Do you still have that?
What?
That folder?
No, I don't run that show anymore.
But I mean, you don't have like a personal folder on your computer with anything like that?
You mean with emails from people?
Yeah.
It's all on Facebook now, but I mean, I haven't had much problem now that I don't run anything for a comedy club anymore. Damn. It's not as much desirable.
I was going to say, it would be awesome if you could get that, bring it to the show.
Karen Jeffy has it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's the one that's got it now. I think they even use the same email, so you could talk to her. She's probably got it. I bet you there's been some more additions.
Because I would love to have a segment on the show called The Naughty Corner, where it's just one of you reading one of the emails.
Just don't use somebody's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a guy who, there's a bringer requirement for the comedy club. You got to bring X number of people, or at least try. And he's like, I don't know, I don't need your bringer, I'm not going to, I would like to do some time without the bringer requirement. I'm like, who are you? I've never heard of you. Usually I've heard of people by then. And I'm like, well, good luck. And it'll be like, what I can bring is my act, ACT, in like capital letters. That's in the naughty corner, that guy, whoever he is. He never got I said, good luck somewhere else, is basically what I said. Blessed luck, try some other rooms. That's what I always would say. If you're a jerk on email, you're probably a jerk.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And if you're a jerk on social media, you're probably a jerk. I think it translates, I mean, it's just but sometimes people just turn into little monsters when they don't have to look at each other, so then it's like I'll just be a jerk on email and I'll bully this person and they'll let me get on a show, some stupid show that doesn't even matter. And I'm like, do you realize that the brain clings to negative information 10 or 15 to 20 times greater than positive information. You really just actually just burned up all your goodwill. I wrote a blog. I have a blog site. I could send you the link later, but the title of one of my proudest works on my blog, I've only made like 6 entries, I need to get back at it, was How Not to Be a Dick at a Mic.
I think I read that one.
Yeah, so I would suggest that, and it's basically how not to be a dick, how you can be a dick. Okay, so heck, I can go into it about 3 minutes if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, here's what you don't do. If anybody's listening, don't be a jerk on email. That's one. Okay, don't do end around bullshit. So don't go call. It was Rob Haney back when I was running Wiley's. So then Rob would be kind of anxious about this stuff because he didn't want people showing up just like, hey, I want to get on. He wanted us to take care of it. Me and Joanne would take care of it. So what we'd get is we'd get these people calling, and it'd be like, hey, X just called, and they want to get on the show. How come, didn't answer their email? And I'm like, because they didn't email. And then what they'd do is they'd email, like, can I be on March 12th? And then you would be, like, bogged down with all the other emails and not respond. And they'll show up like, I emailed asking, does that mean I'm on the show? Yeah, all 87 of us are on the show. Everybody that emailed is on the show. We're going to do 27 seconds, and we'll show you a light at 18 seconds.
That should be your next cat show.
What?
You just book everybody in the area. Everybody gets 27 seconds.
Actually,
you better shine.
See, I wrote a novel for this reason, and I got to say, I'll reveal something out of the novel because, 8 people have read it now. So the guy just loses his shit, and he does do that. He actually got so absorbed with doing a weekend for the other club, he forgot to book the other show at the club. He just says everybody who shows up gets time, and the show has 37 people on it. And then he's going to quit anyhow. So he just runs. He wants to run a 3-hour show and just then bolt during the middle of it, not even get paid. So he kind of loses his shit towards the end, and he's ready to quit. And that's what happens to the character.
And that's in your book, Not Making It.
It's in Not Making It.
Which people can find on Amazon.
On Amazon,
and,
yeah.
Is there any other places?
I haven't checked. I've always had my books go through what they call expanded distribution, which means that Barnes & Noble could sell it also. It probably usually is more expensive. It's on eBay. Some guy in Australia has listed it on eBay for $40-some, and you could buy it on Amazon for $12.99, but you could go get it from Australia for $47 and have it take a month to get here, and you could buy it that way if you want. Because that guy in New Zealand or in Australia is brilliant, and I watched it. I stumbled upon it because I was doing it on Amazon. Then eBay's got that thing, they do the cookie thing, and then all of a sudden, what you've been looking at one site, eBay's got it now.
I see what you're saying.
And I'm like, what that my book is on there, and I'm like,
did you get a sale from? Is the guy just?
Well, what would happen is I would get a sale. No, he hasn't sold any for $47.
Well, I mean, have you sold any to Australia from Amazon?
I don't know.
When
I buy something,
is he just going to buy one when he gets a hit?
When he gets a hit, he's going to buy it. It's going to take a month to get there. It's going to take a month to get back. It's going to take the longest time ever. I think that's what they do. They actually go, and actually all my books are done that way. So I discovered that anything with my name, if you type it into eBay, I got all my books come up. And they're all way more expensive than if you just went on Amazon. So I think what they're doing is they're actually going to buy it. Once you buy it there, they're overcutting everybody. It's not undercutting, overcutting.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, I know it's
I
kind of.
didn't know that was a business model.
It's not a good one, but if you don't have anything, if you have something that people don't know about, then you could do that. So you could sell it on eBay and you could sell it for way more. Just because someone stumbled upon it for some reason. It was somebody who didn't know any better, didn't explore their options. But I literally priced that book as low as it could go without Amazon saying you can't price it any lower. So I don't make a big royalty. I make like $2 on each book. So I did really good around Christmas, for me. But now I'm just on to the next one. I belched out all my bitterness from answering fucking emails from comics. And it made me bitter, and then what they do is they go, then they show up and go over their time after they bothered you this much. And then they want a weekend out of it. So then they want you to have the owner go watch you or the manager go watch that thing. And they want They want a headline when they're done 3 sets ever. There's just so much that they could do that's bad.
The whole headlining thing, that just kills me.
Yeah.
I had a guy on the show. He was booked to do a company party.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to do stand-up comedy. He's never done it before.
Yeah.
He agreed to it and
Good.
then found out that they wanted him to do 45 minutes.
Oh God. Yeah, that's the new people. That's the thing.
He was terrified once he found out. He was like, "Well, I don't have any jokes. How am I going to do 45? I've never done stand up."
Crowd
He
work.
just thought I was funny. I thought I was going to get up there and do like 3 to 5 minutes. You want 45?
5 minutes is an eternity your first time, man. It is an eternity.
He ended up pulling it off. So if you want to hear that show, it's called Snuff Doll. Go.
He must be a real funny guy. I bet you a
He
real
is.
funny person could do that if it was the kind of guy who would bust up a room of college kids when you're in college. That's usually what the core of it is, but it's got to be so polished. But if it's just a private party, who gives a damn? No one's going to know about it.
Yeah, it was just, I think it was for the company he worked for, so it was all good. Well, I think that's it for us this week. I want to thank everybody for listening, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review.
Father time, you bring whatever you got to bring, and I'll be ready.